Okay, so that was the way to go forward without money. And this is the next phase, which is without money in the USA only. So this is if the whole world doesn't decide to go without money, then we have this option, which would be to have a one central bank. Okay, so this is if we still will be using some money, but not within the United States. So this would be, we would have to set up a bank of USA, I would say, and then we could use money for when we want to go abroad somewhere to a place that is still using money. We can go to the bank and say, I need this, and you can also say, it's sort of like a bank where you get money and you get travel information. So you could go there and say, look, I want to go to China. I need $3,000 to go there to use while I'm there. Plus, I need an airline. I need a flight, and I need a hotel. So then they, at the Bank of USA, they will organize all of that for you so that you can do that, so that you can travel there and do whatever it is you want to do there, and have your vacation or your work or whatever's going on. Right. With this concept, we do need to keep our borders strong. So we'll have to, still contemplate that border zone and how best to keep people coming through the border correctly so that we don't have issues. There should be like a point of entry into the country then, where people who want to come in, they can pay a certain amount of money, and then they can come in, and then they can use the country for a certain time period for free, do what they want, whatever. It's sort of like, going to an amusement park, for the lack of a better way of interpreting this. You go in, you pay one price, and then everything is included, and you just go and enjoy. Because internally in the US, we would still be working without money, but like if, let's say, Mexico decides not to go without money, then we have this issue, how do we do that? Otherwise, we'll just have everybody coming here and living here and getting everything for free, which is not fine, which is fine, but then Mexico should then join and also live without money. So that's my point. Otherwise, we do have to then have some sort of a border if we're going separate ways. So, so for me, and I guess I should have said this too, of course, there would be no war on drugs anymore. Also in this area too, living without money in the USA only is, there's no more, I went over the human rights, and I went over sort of the quality of life, and drugs are allowed. Driving with an unlimited speed on certain roads will be also allowed. So these things are all possible. Okay. So now the next part is a return to a monetary society, which is seemingly what we might be doing currently worldwide. if we do this, then I would recommend these steps. We start something called Mother's Pay. So every mother, regardless of age, gets $80,000 a year in rural and suburban areas, and then in other areas, so in metropolitan areas and things of that part, you get 100,000 a year. And what that requires is there is some training that is mandatory, and there will be service that you will start to have to do for your pay from the government. What that means might be training or nursing or something of that nature. I still want to get people involved in the government through the training service corps that I'm planning on having. But yes, so that's for mothers. That includes grandmothers, anybody who's been a mother. This is all for you. Then there's something called Father's Pay, which we will partially support men or people who are in the fathership role. So it can also be lesbian couple where one person is more the worker and the other person is stay at home. So in that situation, or in a gay couple where there's two men involved, again, we have one person being more the mother and one person being more the father. So the father's pay would be $40,000 a year. Again, that includes your service that you will give to your country, and then you can continue to work in your job. I would recommend trying to cut down your normal workload to, like 3 or 4 days a week, so that you can enjoy being a father and enjoy life a little bit. And mothers, I should say, with the pay that I'm talking about, that means working maybe 1 day a week outside of the home, because you'll also have the service that you have to do. But perhaps that's enough money where you don't even have to work outside. You can just be a mom and then do your service for your country, and then everything is covered. Then there is, so for father's pay, if the mother dies, then you could switch and get the mother's pay instead of the father's pay, but then you have to cut back on your work schedule and spend more time being a parent, taking over the mother role. Then there are people who are not mothers or fathers and have no desire to do that at all, and those people will get $40,000 a year. Or maybe I shouldn't make it so high. Maybe we'll say 30,000. Yeah, 30,000 a year. And then you have your service that you have to do. Yeah. All right. So again, how do we get to this? We start a draft. We get everybody between 18 and 35 first, and then after that we'll focus on the 35s to like 50s, and so on and so forth. So training begins immediately, and you go for like 3 months for whatever your service will be. Your pay will automatically start, and we will take care of, making sure that you have money to pay your rent and all the necessary things. I suppose some people will be more flexible at the beginning, so maybe we start certain people right, immediately, and then other people will start after the first group goes through, so after the first 3 months. Then I would, I think we need to change the school year anyways. So that will definitely happen. Children will go to school more year round with a long summer, so about a month and a half off in the summer, 3 weeks in end of the year December time, and then every like 7 weeks you get 2 weeks off, because the children need time off from school to digest the information that they just learned. It doesn't stay automatically in your head. You need a break. So this is a way to get a break, make sure that all children can keep up with the information given to them, so that we have, again, less stress. School days, again, will still be 5 days a week. I think we should push the apprenticeship program. It's a nice transition from childhood to adulthood. And, kids then get started into a career path, and then they can look at it and say, you know what, yes, I like this aspect, but no, I don't like that. And then they can move up the ladder from there. Life is anyways lifelong learning. You will always be learning something. So to try to cram it all in the first, 24 years of your life it's just crazy, because you're gonna change. And so it's good to get started learning respect, working ethic, and things like that early in the apprenticeship program, already with like 15, 16 years old. And then you're done with that around 18, and then you're working, and then you start becoming more part of the society. Work is, again, like 2 to 5 days a week maximum. I know some people are very inspired and they're going to work more, so I can't say you can't work. But if your hobby is work and your work is hobby, then, you can work as much as you want. But officially, you really only have to work 2 to 3 days a week. Especially with the advent of robots coming, we will be reducing our workload. So some of us already are. Then there's your service time that you'll be doing for the country, and that will determine how much free time you have also to work at your other job. During the training period, it will be intensive, but then after that, it will be working in your town, doing various things, and yeah, it will just be a different, it won't be so intensive. So with the return to the monetary society, you have to realize that nothing is really guaranteed. I would still like to introduce on some highways no speed limit, and I think it's time to make drugs legal and sex work legal. It's time to stop this criminalization process that we have. The only things that are illegal is killing, beating, abuse, also mental abuse, rape, stealing, and kidnapping. These are all against the law. But the government will support you financially and you give the government your time. And so it's an equal trade, I think. So that's going forward if we return to a monetary society, but go a little bit in a secure fashion. Then if we return to the monetary society that we had before and nothing changes. So I guess I'm going to say if this happens, I'm probably not your president. So that's why you should vote for me so that those other changes will happen, whatever level they are. So if we go back to the monetary society, nothing changes. There's no mother's pay, no father's pay, everything exactly as it was. We will have the biggest depression probably we've ever seen. One plus point will be the earth and the environment and pollution have gone down. So at least we don't have that crisis to worry about as much as we did only 4 months ago. But we have other crises. We have high unemployment. We have high bankruptcies, which will lead to high suicides. So we will have long lines, shortages of all sorts, lots of stress and anger and hatred and brutality. We will continue the racism. Maybe it even gets worse. The sexism, maybe that even gets worse. We will have to build more prisons because there'll be more people breaking the law probably because of the stress levels. And we will maybe even self-destruct, I don't know. There might be riots and war, a new war breaking out on the continent itself here in the United States. So this route I just cannot recommend. Returning to how it was before is really just not possible. It's not. So I think number one is the best way forward. Number two, which is the one where we have some money, but only outside of the United States. That's only if the whole world doesn't join in on going moneyless. And then if we return to the money society, I think the only way to do that is with mother's pay. So that is it. That is the plan. Those are our choices. Now, I'm running for president. I want you to vote for me, so please do. But I want you to know that I'm working for you as your president, or I would be working for you as your president. So we will make those decisions, that decision together. On the other hand, this is a shout out to President Trump, that if you want to look at these policies that I just talked about and maybe think about what's the best way to go forward, or maybe ask the American people what they want to do, and maybe ask the world what they want to do. And let's see if we can all join hands together and move forward together positively so that we can end things like racism and sexism and hate and fear, and learn to be curious and enjoy what we have. So that is it for me. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed what you heard, and I hope I gave you something to think about. Let me know, please. Send me a message. Have a good day. Bye.